And hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Voice of the Thoroughbreds, Chris McSwingin, back with you for another broadcast of Between the Reins here on WSPN 91.9. I almost said ESPN, WSPN 91.1. And we have a very special guest here, somebody we've been waiting on for a little while, had to reschedule, had some life complications come up, which totally understand. But it is Brad, is it Campion?
Yeah.
Brad Campion is here with us. He is the Skidmore men's soccer coach. And it's one we've been waiting on. We were trying to get him in April, and now we finally got him here on the penultimate broadcast. We got one more next week.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. And you know, I want to learn more about soccer.
Sure.
And learn more about.
Great time to do it, the World Cup.
Well, that's why we're going to get into that. Yeah, the World Cup's coming, which is not so much affecting here, but it's going to affect a lot of cities throughout the country. But also kind of the idea of this show, we started back in February. We had Coach Bostic on, and he was the first one. He kind of came up with the idea with him, and then obviously Coach Burke, and then Peter Fisher, and Lindsey King, and then it just snowballed, which was great. I've had some players on as well, Ruby Kropp, Aiden Roy, and then last week I wanted to save it for last, but just again with scheduling and things, didn't get around to it, but I don't know why I'm hearing that echo. Oh, that's why, probably right there. I had Gail on last week.
Oh, great.
Dancing. So that was a fantastic interview as
Excellent.
well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so one of the main things I wanted to get into, we talked a little bit off air. I was coming into this prepping for you being from New England because of all the New England ties.
Sure.
But you told me off the air you're actually local as well.
Yeah, that's a big part of me coming back here.
Well, that was really my first question, was what brought you to Skidmore from there? But you were from here anyway, so you kind of already knew about Skidmore a little bit. So we will get into it, but first I got to do my little disclaimer thing. Since we are a little early, I have time to fit everything in. I'm not rushing like usual. Coach Campion arrives here with an incredibly strong resume. Most recently, he was part of the staff at the University of New Hampshire, where the program became one of the top teams in the country, earning a top 10 national ranking, advancing to the NCAA Sweet 16, and producing professional talent, including MLS draft picks. Before that, he served as the head coach of New England College, where he led the program to a conference championship and NCAA tournament appearance, and earned Coach of the Year honors. As a player, he's a former NCAA national champion, multi-time all-conference selection, and academic All-American. Now he brings that experience to Skidmore here in first season, I believe, right?
Second
season. Well, it's going into second?
Going into third.
Going into third season, okay. And Coach Campion, so we welcome you to Between the Reins here, and kind of wanted to get into a lot of the people that I've spoke with have been established here. They've been here for years. Coach Bostic is only his second year, but everybody else has been here for years upon years. You're going now into your third season, and what was the main difference for you coming into Skidmore here, coming from a program like UNH, it's D1,
sure,
coming down now to the D3 level, but still ultra competitive? I mean, was there a big transition for you, or?
Yes and no. I mean, I played Division II, Division III. I was a head coach at Division III before UNH. So I had the perspective and background. Okay. I think the difference was the academic side and just the student athlete here. I came in and 6 students were abroad. Oh, wow. I had never dealt with that before, especially at Division I level, but even at the Division III level.
During the seasons they can't leave.
But I came in the spring.
Oh, in the spring.
Even just to be like, there's 6 guys I can't meet right now.
Oh, yeah, because
they're very interesting.
Sure.
And then just the academic pursuit here, the pursuit of excellence in career path was a little bit different, not too different than Geneseo, like very high achieving academic school there too. I would say that was something to get used to from a admissions perspective, from how to approach the student athlete, from scheduling, all those things that I took for granted at a UNH where we could practice at 1:00.
Yeah.
And you could get students we could go 3 days early to a game, right? And get them out of class, all of that. That completely changed admissions wise. UNH, I was getting kids in August for that season.
Okay.
We're here, there's no way you're getting kids in that late.
And the season starts in September. You're the first season.
It starts right then. My first season at UNH, one of our best forwards in July said, "Hey, I'm going to go pro in China.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not coming back."
Oh.
So then we had to find a forward.
Jeez,
in
like
a quick period of
blink of an
time.
eye, yeah.
Yeah, so those are some of the differences.
And this was before. No, I don't know. NIL doesn't really affect soccer at all too much, right?
It does now.
It does now, okay.
But not when I was there.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, hey, we're going to offer you this much to come, like kind of a thing. Whereas you see a lot of college athletics, at least on the D1 level. I don't know so much about soccer, but I know basketball and football is really like free agency now.
Yeah.
It's really just kind of like there are, I guess, students you can put in quotes that have been at a different school all 4 years. And it's who's paying them the most. And it's crazy to think, especially coming from being an athlete myself. Yes, I did play football, but I actually was more of a basketball guy. I was 20 years ago. I was a little skinnier. But it's funny you mentioned D1. When I came into Hartwick, obviously being a D3 player there, they had D1 men's soccer back then.
Did.
And that was 2006.
Yeah.
Just the spring of graduated in 06 from high school, so the fall of 06. And I'm coming in going, all right, it's going to be our Empire 8 and all that. All of a sudden, my first weekend on campus, it's like Syracuse, Penn State, Ohio State, all these school, Rutgers. And I'm like, wow, okay, man, so I never really thought that much about soccer, and I'm like, I'm going to soccer games. This is cool. This is all these D1 because my whole family went to Syracuse.
There's an incredible book about the 70s and 80s in Oneonta.
Oh yeah, about
soccer. In Oneonta, this Greek player, I forget his name, he's 5'3", but he won the Mac Herman Award.
I did hear they talk about that out there. Yeah,
they just talk about the culture at Hartwick at the time. So it's cool you got the tail end of it. And
very.
National Hall of Fame was there.
I think they ended the D1. They were D1, I think, until my senior year, and then I think they went all D3 right before 2010. But I believe they could have been my whole time, but they're not anymore. They're all D3 now. But I thought it was cool because my whole family went to Syracuse. So I'm texting my dad going, guess what I'm doing right now? I'm watching a Syracuse Hartwick game. Like I never thought I'd see that, Yep. And he's like, well, what sport? I'm like, soccer, and they had to have Title IX. So they had men's soccer, and then they had women's water polo.
Okay.
And it was sort of a similar thing, like you were mentioning. A lot of those women were from the West Coast or from Europe, so they were off campus pretty much their entire season, because no one really played water polo around here. So it was they were out in California for their whole season. So that was kind of interesting how they were able to get away with that, especially with a D3 academic focused shift. So you had played. So we know where you coached. Where did you play at?
So
you said Geneseo, right?
My first 2 years were at Southern New Hampshire University.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I grew up around here, just outside of Albany and Bethlehem.
Bethlehem, yep.
And
Eagle.
Eagle,
okay.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So huge soccer culture in that town. We had the Bethlehem Hooligans, which was our fan group. We had a band at every game. They had chants for everyone in the field. It was a incredible soccer culture. So I got recruited Division I, Division II, Division III, but Southern New Hampshire played excellent soccer, and the coach who ended up being my boss at UNH, Mark Hubbard, was the coach at Southern New Hampshire at the time. So,
the black and orange. The Eagles.
For Eagles,
yeah.
So yeah. That was prideful for that, yeah. So started at Southern New Hampshire, did 2 years there. My sophomore year, we won the national championship.
Yep.
And then after that, transferred to Geneseo.
Okay.
I wanted to be a teacher. Getting your teaching degree in New York, you can go anywhere with it. And then Division II was definitely wild west in terms of recruiting. I had 25-year-olds on the team, and I was good, but I wasn't that good to start on a team like that. So Geneseo, I was able to play. And then grad school in New York City. That's kind of where my coaching career started.
So you bounced all around then a little bit.
Yeah. But the New England connection, so when I finished grad school, Mark Hubbard, who was my Southern New Hampshire coach, had gone to University of New Hampshire.
Nice.
And he offered me a spot on the staff. So instead of take a bunch of jobs in New York City, I was like, I'll go volunteer up in New Hampshire.
Why not? It's beautiful up there.
That kind of started it all.
And that's Durham, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, UNH. Yeah. That's up north from. I was sending you off there. I lived in Southern New Hampshire. And I think you said Southern New Hampshire. That's in Manchester.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Manch Vegas.
Well, okay. So you know the name. Yeah. So it was still called that. Okay. When I lived up there too, that was like where the clubs and the bars were. Nashua didn't have too much going on, but
I always reference Manchester as Adam Sandler's from there, and every character he's created in a movie is a person in Manchester. Because it is such a
I didn't know.
It's such a good. Well, like it's my.
That's your thing.
It's such a interesting city. It's a don't judge a book by its cover city, because like someone could have dyed hair, tattoos, everything, and then they're like a biophysicist. Like, it's just like what it is. So. Really, really cool time in my in Manchester. I enjoyed it up there.
Hey, I really loved New Hampshire. Coming back here I'm from here. I went to Shen for till ninth grade and then CBA for 3 years. So I'm from here as well. But living up there it's totally different.
Yep.
No tax.
Yeah.
Everything's cheaper and everything is so like calm. It's a calmer lifestyle too up that way.
Very well
like
put.
they're not they're not as on the go constantly as they are here. So you've coached at multiple levels. Obviously you mentioned Purchase, New England College, UNH. I mean, what did each stop? What did you take from each stop? That like did each one kind of give you something new that you can use today?
It's a really good shout. So Purchase, let's just talk about that. 70% of their athletic budget was based on leasing out their fields to other outside clubs. So that was such interesting insight into like a Division III program that was just like stringing budgets together and how to recruit to a place that was very much focused on the arts.
Sure.
So that was an interesting takeaway there. I was coaching club at the time, 13-year-old girls in Manhattan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I got invited to a lot of bat mitzvahs. That was pretty fun. But I learned from there how to manage a club like Manhattan Soccer Club.
Is it tough to get fields in Manhattan too?
Well, that's like the whole project point. So Randall's Island is where we practice, which is kind of in between, I guess, like Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Okay.
We took 3 rounds of charter buses a day from Upper West and Upper East Side over to Randall's. Wow. And like at watching 13, that operation happen
that's
every single day was pretty crazy. So, that takeaway of just like how to manage a full club in a city was pretty incredible.
And I had talked to actually Ruby Kropp, who is from I believe Harlem, and she went to school right near Times Square.
Sure.
And it was the same thing. Getting to school, like you getting to high school every day was an hour plus.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, like that's crazy because like I thought Clifton Park to CBA was a long trip, so that's wild. And Purchase, I didn't know that really about Purchase. I know we've played them in athletics before.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Are they still doing that kind of thing? Or
I imagine. I just think it's what happens at a lot of the SUNYs. Like even my experience in SUNY Geneseo, the amount of resources put into paying coaches to the team to everything is not there. So it's cool. It makes you think in creative ways. Makes you have to grind and fundraise. And I would say to go to like my next stop at UNH the first time around, you had to grind. I was in a director of operations role, so it was all volunteer. So how many camps I had to work, clinics just to like pay rent, and then it's apprenticeship. You're just there in the office trying to absorb everything from the other coaches and move along was the experience there. But the operation side it's what kind of drives me here. What creates a good student athlete experience? So I'm talking what you're wearing, what the music is, how the locker room feels, the kids that are involved, the merchandise. I mean, we would get 4,000 or 5,000 at UNH soccer games. It was insane for a soccer.
I mean, a D1,
but D1 and we kept it all free as well. But like how to make a cool experience, and like think about that. Okay, we won this game. Brad, you're in charge of booking the flights and all the travel down to Miami to then go play FIU. And like having to learn that part was a really cool pickup.
So there's a lot of back end to it that maybe from a D3 level you're not really getting the experience with.
Yeah. And what benefits is like now I understand all the little things add to the success on the field. So like it really matters if you book the night before and go train on the other team's field, even down to like, is the other team using an Under Armour ball? We should purchase an Under Armour ball so we can practice with that. It was all these little details that the coach at UNH, Mark, at the time kind of passed on to me that now like going into a D3 level, you're just at a heightened just detailed oriented approach that like ultimately benefits the guys, and the guys feel like they're part of something pretty professional too.
And not knowing too much about UNH outside of, I know their football program a little bit. I know sometimes they're okay in the basketball program, but I didn't know too much about their soccer. I knew they had soccer. I didn't know much about it, but the Sweet 16 run, a top 10 ranking, that's pretty big for a school that's not generally known as being like big, big time, but it's still D1. How was that for you? Like coming into not only a D1 experience, but a D1 experience with a program that's ranked among the top 10 in the nation. That had to be a cool experience.
Yeah, I wouldn't have taken the job both times I went there if I didn't trust the head coach and then know they were a top 20 program, because I just knew
That's what you were looking for, like a successful program.
You talk about NIL. For us, you were allowed 9.9 scholarships at soccer.
Okay.
We only had 8 budgeted. So we had to fundraise $150,000 every year just to get to 9.9 to be competitive with other programs.
How many guys are usually on a team?
25.
Okay, so a lot of them weren't scholarship guys then.
Correct.
And most of them, actually.
And you had to like find the local guys that wanted to go there that could get in-state tuition. So like the whole roster management was super insightful. But to your point, the bigger thing is America East Conference.
Yes.
Like the University of Vermont won the national championship for soccer.
Yep.
That coach and Mark.
That year you're talking about?
The year after I left.
The year after, okay.
But the coaching tree is Mark was at UNH.
Yep.
He was at Southern New Hampshire as my head coach. The guy that recruited me to Southern New Hampshire is Rob Dow.
Okay.
Rob Dow was the UVM head coach. He's now at Penn State.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So out of Southern New Hampshire, you have, I mean, I could list a dozen guys that are now all in very high head coaching jobs out of like this mini D2 school, which is really, really cool. So it was America East. I mean, you have UNH, Bryant, and UVM are top 15 our last year.
And isn't Albany's in that program?
Albany's in it.
Stony Brook, like I'm just trying to think of.
Stony Brook's out of it now.
Yeah,
UMass Lowell.
Yep, the
Binghamton.
Riverhawks, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So no, to your point, I mean they were punching above their weight, and to beat Syracuse, who was the reigning national champions at home.
That's big.
What a cool thing. And then Clemson, who we lost to, won the national championship.
Okay.
So we were right there, and it's why the head coach got the NC State job now. Okay. So he's there now, and like. He was in the national championship this year.
Yeah.
So you know what?
Who won it this year at the D1 level?
Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, see, and it's so cool because soccer is one of those sports that is on a national level where, like you said, Washington, we were just talking about a bunch of East Coast schools. Yeah. Now, I'm assuming Washington State, like you are the Huskies. Okay. Because, there is a Washington on the East Coast. But it's one of those national things, whereas like lacrosse, my dad played lacrosse at Syracuse. Mm-hmm. That was his main sport. You only got a handful in this area. You're not seeing, Denver has a team, sure, but you're not really seeing lacrosse on a national level being played. Hockey's starting to come up a little bit. I still think it's kind of goofy that they play hockey in Florida, but that's me. But soccer anywhere in the country could have a good program. And it's one of those things that's like, every program you're going to find, whether it's high school, whether it's college, unless they just don't have the budget for anything, it's probably going to have a soccer team before they have others. Yeah. And not only is it national, it's a worldwide sport. As you know, football is what they call it around the world. And us now hosting the World Cup is going to be a huge thing as well, which I'm sure you're going to be invested in Massive, that, glued to the TV for that over the summer. And I'm assuming you're rooting for Team USA.
Yeah, it's probably the one professional thing I actually follow in detail. I think when I was younger, I followed the Yankees in detail. Liverpool. But like really right now, like the last 4 years, it's just I watch every US game and I waste 2 hours of my life every single time because it's usually, and this is a soccer fan thing, like there's so much hope and anticipation. And then when it falls flat, it's killer.
The thing for soccer with me was I never, I'll watch World Cup, I'll watch, Olympics and different things, but I don't follow it as much as maybe I should, but it can be exciting, especially in late game situations, if it's a tie game, it's a low game, but I don't always know what's going on, and I don't always know why the ball switches or why they set it down, and I'm just watching, and for me, it's always kind of been highlights. I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch the highlight clips of it and the same thing with hockey. I watch the highlight clips because I did a hockey game once for somebody. They were like, "Oh, you're a broadcaster. You do play-by-play. Well, come do, hockey." And I had to Google what icing was, so it's just, I probably should follow it because it is interesting to me. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on also was I want to learn more about the sport, because it is probably the world's sport. So I wanted to kind of get in a little bit with that with you as well. But so you've recruited and developed players, now at multiple levels. But, what do you look for first in a player that you're recruiting now that you are at the helm to do the majority of that?
Yeah, technical ability first. So how can you manipulate a ball, specifically like within your mid-range passing? And mid-range passing is anywhere from 15 to 25 yards.
Yeah.
So I think you have to start with the foundation of like, are they a good technical quality soccer player?
Okay.
The next part is kind of that character competitiveness. Like you want to see in certain moments how competitive they are, whether you have them in your own environment in a clinic or you talk to their coach or see them. And then the character piece is interesting because you think as a coach, you're naive. Oh, I can shape anyone into the character I want to. So like sometimes that takes like a
Well, you have a system, right? So
yeah,
you
yeah,
have to
yeah.
look at how they
Right.
fit your system
Yeah.
in a way.
Well, that's completely. I mean,
Is it a separate
at
thing?
UNH and at Skidmore here, we have a formation and we recruit into it. And if you're a certain style of player that doesn't fit it, it's easy for us recruiting. We can kind of check you off.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you do fit in, it's better in recruiting because we can be super intentional and say, hey, this is how we see you. This is why we see you in this way.
Kind of give them a game plan. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of coaches maybe aren't doing that or just saying they're a good player and like X, Y, and Z. So we have a huge breakdown of every position, all the skills and all that. And then we have video of like when you walk in as a first year, this is how you should play right back in our formation. And I think it gives more freedom to players because now they understand like the baseline and how to get time. And then they can kind of build autonomy within that position. So yeah, I mean, I kind of went off on the question.
No, that's good. That's why we started a little early. You know,
Yeah,
and I actually like when there's articulate answers to questions because everyone's been great so far that I've had, but there have been radio interviews in the past that I've had on various stations where it's like 1 or 2 word answers, and it's like, all right, well, can you elaborate a little bit?
Sure.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So no worries at all on that. And the identity. So you kind of touched a little bit on what you look for bringing a player in, but when they're already here, what identity does Skidmore Soccer have? If somebody's looking at the program from the outside, what do you want them to see?
Yeah. Blue collar defensive work rate. So you have to be, whether you're forward or all the way to the back, you have to be willing to buy into the way we press in a very systematic way. And guys that are less skilled will get on the field if they do the pressing and defensive work the right way.
Kind of like okay, so like in football terms, like a special teams guy can find his way onto a field somehow if he can do some of the little things, even if he's not necessarily a starter, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've seen it work everywhere I've been. If you just again lay it out for the player, so the defensive work rate is really really important. The identity piece of like we want to play a good brand of soccer, so you have to take pride in your passing, your technical ability. People are coming to games to be entertained, and I want to be entertained as a head coach too. So I want players to be able to have fun with it on the field. I think an important part of being in Skidmore and me being from here is take pride in upstate New York, take pride in Skidmore. Skidmore is a very unique community that is very special. Saratoga is an incredible unique community.
Oh, yeah.
And then upstate too, like players come from all around the country. Then they need to understand the value of the education here, the value of the area. I'm also the director of the Saratoga Wilton Soccer Club in town, which is 500 families. These kids come to all of our games. They come to all of our camps.
Is that what you got tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the players understanding that they're part of something bigger than themselves, like that becomes part of the identity on campus. So
500 families. That's pretty. That's pretty huge.
It's a massive club. Yeah. No, it really is. So I want players to be good ambassadors when they're wearing the Skidmore Soccer shirt out. Like they have to understand how they act will have ripple effects to my recruiting, to how players or people come to our games, to how people just view athletes in general. So there's definitely a holistic development part to our identity that players get when they come in here.
And you, one of the words I guess that you have used, well, you didn't quite use it, but you hinted on it, and a lot of the other coaches have used it, and it's a big thing here at Skidmore, both on the field and off, is culture.
Yep.
You try to build a culture, and you look for a certain model. So when you come to Skidmore, okay, this is what Skidmore, in this case, soccer is going to be, right? And how do you feel like the campus and the school in general helps to kind of maintain the culture that you're trying to build?
Yeah. So I think our admissions team is super prideful of being good stewards of the school.
Mm.
So who they bring in is going to enhance that culture. So like that's excellent. Everyone here is trying to move in a positive direction and problem solve.
Okay.
There's no like what I call faculty like in a high school when there's the faculty room and all the teachers just go in there and complain about their students.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen here.
Okay.
It's more of like problem solving, being positive, moving forward. And I think that's the general motto of like, and creative thought matters is not just a corny like tagline.
No, it's a good line. Yeah,
it's a really good line, and like our alums do go on, and like we can get into what
some
three
great
of our
things.
alums do in the soccer space right now with Vermont Green and USL too. But it's I want students to come in here to take on the liberal arts, the interdisciplinary study approach, and because that's who I was as a student. And I think I identify with the school, and I want like players that intrinsically want to be a part of that too. So I think that's a big aspect of it. And then Gail, just what she's created culturally is again that problem solving piece and like compromise. Like you might not get everything you want, but we're gonna meet a middle ground where like you can move forward, and then you're gonna have to be resourceful and move forward through it.
And she mentioned something last week that she was a big part of the Thoroughbred Society or the Skidmore Society, which is celebrating academics, which in a lot of cases, at least back when I was in college from 06 to 2010, it was a academics. You're there, you're a student athlete, it's great, but we were there as athletes. Sure. We were there, the jocks. We were, hey, did I pass? Cool. All right, when's our next game? Right. And now looking at a school that kind of goes out of their way to help you, off the field as well, is a cool thing to see. And everybody mentions it. I thought maybe one or two is just like a bias, like, oh yeah, no, this is what I do. But everybody that I've talked to is like, there's all these programs off campus that help to maintain and help students along and help them be not just better students and athletes, but better people. And I'm like, wow, okay. So Skidmore really kind of does have a different mentality than a lot of other schools do. And the athletes have a different mentality. I was telling Gail, I was like, I graduated with like a 3.5, but my first 2 years, I was there for basketball. I didn't, I'm like, and then it kind of hit me like, I'm not going pro. I'm not going to the NBA. Like I need to make something out of this. And that's when I ended up starting to be like, all right, well, I'm not going to play football. I'm not going to concentrate on one sport. So my roommates all play football. So why don't I do the games? Why don't I broadcast the games for them? Why don't I, start to give back to the school some way? And so now I shot myself in the foot because now I want to do football every fall, and you guys don't have football. And I called Hartwick, and they were like, yeah, we'd love to have you come down and mentor the students and mentor, but we can't pay you. And I'm like, that's weird. Why? I mean, you're $50,000 a year. You can't give me $100 for a game, They're like, well, we have students do it now. Yeah. And they're doing it for credit. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, it's like 20 years later, almost. I was like, I started that. Like I was the first one to do it, So I was like, kind of shot myself, kind of created a monster a little bit, but I'm, it's good for them though, and I like the fact that there's been students here now that are doing the baseball games, that help out with the hockey games. That I don't know if there's students to do your games, but
we hired a kid this year to do
them. Yeah. So and that's cool. That now that there's that interest. You know, when I came in here in 2014, they weren't doing any. They didn't have any broadcasting. So I kind of, I like the fact that there's an open campus too that is in tune with a lot of that too, because students have heard me and go, "Yo, that's so cool! Can I come on the air with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want to do a whole game by myself. If you want to, Whereas when I did Becker College for football, they, it was now shut down, unfortunately. Sure. But I did Becker, and I was like, "Hey, maybe there's a student in the, communications program or something that would like to do it." Crickets. Nobody. Nah, I don't. It's a Saturday afternoon. I want to. I'm good. Oh, all right. Well. You can get credit for it. Helps with your major. Nah, it's a Saturday. I got other priorities. All right. You know what I mean? So it's just the fact that Skidmore is like, I'm just seeing the growth from just that alone. Yeah. I'm like, wow, so when you came in, so your first season was 2024 then?
Yes.
Okay. Little bit maybe less than your expectations, but then this year came out, 10-4-3 was a heck of a year for you guys. And I mean, just looking at it here as I go down, obviously in the Liberty League tournament, you had the Vassar game, unfortunately, but I'm looking at a lot of what you did in conference. I mean, wins over Ithaca, which was a nationally ranked team. Worcester Polytech's always pretty good. Springfield's pretty good. Salem State is a program I've heard of. So, in conference, you guys went 6-2 and 1. So, what do you think really helped to turn a program around from maybe a little bit under your expectations to having, 10-4-3 is a pretty good year. What do you think helped to turn that around, really?
Well, the first year we were number 1 in the conference at goals against average. And I think we were away, or we had such a strong just defensive presence. And we took St. Lawrence to double overtime, and that team, player, I mean, what an incredible performance by that group.
You did win a Liberty League tournament game that year, too, on penalty kicks, as I see
and
here, which is interesting.
Yeah, and hosting one, too. So we finished third in the conference that year. So I think I give that first group a ton of credit as buying into the system and culture and being super gritty. Like, we were so hard to break down. And then the difference from that year to this year is just we had some more attacking players. I think I started 6 first years this year, so we've recruited really well. And we definitely had some more attacking presence this year, but along with that defensive mentality of like, look, if it's 0-0, we're always in the game. So that's kind of coming from like my background. And
is there a particular hotbed for soccer that you look for? Like I was saying earlier, it's kind of everywhere. I just didn't know if maybe
you can use your connections.
Do you recruit mostly in the Northeast, or I didn't look at the roster.
Our incoming class next year is mostly Northeast. There's a lot of New England connections within it. I think when people get up to Saratoga and Skidmore, they understand how awesome this place is. So it's really like getting them up to campus. But yeah, we have people. I mean, we have one from Jamaica on our team.
Wow, it's a lot long. I mean, I had to scroll like 10 times. That's a long roster. Okay,
it's a big roster. Yeah, but anywhere from Maine down to DC. We have our captains from Oregon. We had a player from California, 2 players from California. So I think Skidmore's reach is pretty big. I would say my connections, as far as the type of player that would come to Skidmore, is Northeast.
And as a still relatively new head coach, at least here, how do you build trust with players early on as a new coach? Because there's been several times where I've come in and, like, give you an example. I know I keep going back to Hartwick, but in 4 years, I had three coaches in 4 years. How do you kind of build that trust level of, they can kind of come to you, rely on you for everything, but they also are like, hey, like I want to come out. I want to play for this guy. You know what I mean?
Vulnerability. So the assistant coach, Ethan Gunty, him and I have known each other since 14. We played in high school together at Bethlehem. He went to Lemoyne. I went to Southern New Hampshire. We played in conference against each other. And then we actually transferred into Geneseo together. So this guy is like my best friend since 14. So the coaching staff already just has this awesome trust built in, and we're super vulnerable to the players about the stuff we've been through in life, both on the field and off the field. And when you do that early, and then you have players share with one another, you're like, when we first came in, teammates of 4 years together had no clue that like one another went through a certain hardship. And as soon as you have players sharing with one another, the trust is built there. They see that you're vulnerable. And then the relationships build a lot more. And then you have to put in the work to show that you care about their experience. And I think we do that really well here. We go above and beyond to make sure, whether it's just locker room and music stuff, or whether it's off-field team bonding, or if it's just tactics and scouts and everything. Like I have a good feeling that the players are like, damn, like coach is putting in the work.
Are a lot of your travel games overnights or no?
No,
you don't do a lot. Okay,
but before, I don't think they really did overnights. Okay, especially the night before. So going out the day before, say if we're playing on grass, which we don't have here, and getting to practice on their field and getting a feel for that, like
sometimes it's
huge.
Beneficial.
It's everything. Yeah. So
do you prefer the turf or?
I prefer really nice grass. Okay. I would say in our conference there's nice grass. Okay. I wouldn't say there's like
super just pristine grass. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that kind of shoots me off a little bit of a tangent here. We still got, we're good on time, but so that makes me wonder then, these World Cup games that are coming up, these are in football stadiums or big arenas. Yeah. Do they change out the grass?
From my understanding, they grew all the grass for the World Cup in California. There's
and they just ship it in?
Southern, Central, and Northern California. They shipped it in.
So how do you like ship in and then lay down grass and get it to stay so it's not?
It's above my pay grade.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
But there's definitely they have to get it right, because if there is, and I think it's down right now in most stadiums. Like it's been down for a while.
Yeah, because there's no real sports in those stadiums right now.
Correct. So, yeah. So I think it's been down for a while, and they did some like friendly matches there to like kind of get a feel for
play on it. Yeah.
But yeah,
I know like AT&T Stadium. I'm a big Cowboys fan. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's been a tough 30 years, but I'm a big Cowboys fan, and I know AT&T Stadium's hosting one, and they've got the artificial turf. Yeah. So I'm like, what do they just roll all that up and then put the grass down, or do they play on the turf?
Yeah.
That's interesting, huh? Yeah, it's just those are the little things that I notice.
Professionals that come over here and play in the MLS, they won't play on turf fiels.
And they won't.
Like it's in their contract. So like Zidane was over here, or Zlatan. Yeah. But when I think Messi has in his contract that he doesn't play in certain turf games because
interesting.
They think it leads to more injuries, or it's beneath them, or whatever it is.
Because that's the other way around. Like a lot of the guys with football, of course, they play in sometimes adverse weather situations, but they feel like the turf, they have better footing than sliding around on grass.
Yeah.
So that's interesting dynamic.
Purity of the sport. Yeah.
And the cleats are different, I assume. You guys have different cleats than other outdoor sports. A little bit longer.
I mean, if it's wet out, you're putting metal studs on. Getting that going.
So you guys are on Wackenheim. That's where you play. Okay, I know baseball's out off campus, so I didn't know if you guys are off campus too. Yeah. So now you sort of as a player, we've talked a little bit about you now as a coach and your philosophy and what you've built here so far. But you as a player, two-time academic All-American, two-time All-East selection. 3-time SUNYAC Conference All-American. Rest in peace to the SUNYAC. I know that they've blown up since, but and then SUNYAC Scholar Athlete of the Year. So academics were always a big thing for you as well. And you studied, I believe I had an eye. You studied education and history, I believe. Yeah. So, but academics are always a big thing for you also.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in wanting to know a little about a lot. Okay. So it's probably why I was like a teacher and in history is. I wanted to take courses and take advantage of my education, and I was not a naturally gifted student. I really had to work at it. So like I was definitely pretty disciplined when it came to like I didn't miss a class. I was generally engaged in what I wanted to learn. I wasn't what you were describing earlier, like, oh, I'll go and I really wanted to.
No, in high school I was. In high school, because with CBA you have to.
Yeah.
Like, certain colleges are like, oh, a 2.5 is the cutoff for I think NCAA or whatever it is. You didn't have a 3.5 at CBA, you couldn't play.
Right.
Like you couldn't touch the field. So I went from that rigid academic standard to, hey, I'm free, I'm in college, it's great.
Yeah.
And then it got to, well, maybe I should buckle down a little bit. And then, my sophomore year, I really started to all right, freshman year was fun, but let's get into it. And the same thing. I like to know a little bit about everything. And, that's why the grass thing, I just want to know that. Who cares about that? But that interests me, Mm-hmm. And same things with if a basketball team or a baseball team or a football team that I like, I'll be able to tell you where every single player, even if they have barely touched the field, went to college.
Yeah.
And, where they're from. And, somebody will make a catch and they'll be like, oh, that was a fantastic catch. I'm like, yeah, he did that at South Carolina too. And they're like, how'd you know he went there?
You got that too.
That kind of, I just, and I become almost obsessive about that stuff. I
would add to it, and I try and preach this to my guys now, just the social part of it too, of office hours with professors or doing co-curricular stuff, all the little things is probably what added up to all these academic awards I received in college, because I wanted to be involved and I made connections to that. And I think when you do that in life, it's networking, right? And then you get the benefit of the doubt most of the time. So I preached that here at Skidmore, and then I did it as a student.
Well, I think also as a player too, having that kind of success, for example, then you look at Southern New Hampshire, 2013, D2 national champ, 2-time Northeast, Northeast 10 conference champ, and then obviously the Elite 89 award recipient.
Got to go to 2 Final Fours for basketball for free.
Yeah, that which is awesome.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So I'm looking at that as like you come from a winning program, right? Whereas coming from programs that you were in, or like let's say you were playing like at Hartwick, I was 500.
Sure.
Okay, I went from a CBA team that lost 5 games total in 3 years,
right,
to a 500 team at Hartwick. And for me, coming out of it, obviously I didn't go in the coaching route, I went in the broadcasting route, but do you think that maybe having that success both on and off the field really kind of helped you to, build your philosophy now as a head coach as well? Because had you not had a lot of success, which happens, you might have been like, you might not have that kind of, all right, I want to strive for the same excellence that I want these guys to have kind of what I experienced, and what a winning culture feels like.
It's more the culture. So the winning is a byproduct of your culture being great. So
see, I want to win regardless. I love culture, but I want to win.
My filter is create a positive student athlete experience, and the byproduct is championships. And I've seen that, but I still do all the little details. But I'm not going to be your Dan Hurley about the coach. It just won't be that for me. So
you don't strike me as that type of dude.
Yeah. With soccer though, it's such an interesting sport because even if you deserve to win, you don't win. And I think my takeaway is life's not a movie, and then you have good goes and bad goes, and it's as simple as that. You can't let it weigh on you more than that. Because I, in my high school career, should have achieved a lot more, and we didn't. And then I got very fortunate to be in a culture like Southern New Hampshire. And then at Geneseo, team-wise, we didn't achieve that much. Individually, I did.
Yeah.
So I've had these really cool experiences of I wouldn't say failure, just not great setups or experiences. And then I've had some unbelievable setups and experience. And I think being I was a redshirt freshman.
Sure.
I couldn't touch the field.
Yep.
So then Geneseo, you're playing in every game. So I'm able to relate to players now who are going through that. And it's really important. I went through all of it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was doing a little bit of the digging research. You've never had a losing season as a coach?
Correct.
Yeah. That's insane too. Especially since, that's one of the things that coaches sometimes have to deal with. So yeah, never had a losing season as a coach. So I think also, if that were me, I'd use that as a recruiting point as well. I'd be like, hey, yes, it's culture, it's great, it's Skidmore, but I know what a winning program and a winning culture feels like.
Yep.
I'm not trying to sound, this is me talking to the recruit. I'm not trying to sound, tooting my horn or anything, but I know I've been there. I know what that feels like, and I know what it takes for you to be there as well. Whereas, you can, you have that ability to be able to do that.
I think the interesting part at Skidmore is they don't have any banner or any trophies. So Skidmore soccer is not one.
They haven't been the long history
or NCAA tournament.
Okay.
So they've been in championship games, and they've been a ranking or 2 off from making the tournament, but haven't yet. So there is a legacy factor here of recruiting of, you could be the first ones to do it, right? Mm-hmm. And to your point there, I've done it as
do you want to build a program? Do you want to be so instead of pitching, hey, you're coming into this juggernaut of a program, do you want to be part of building something?
It's not even building, because we're there. And to your point, it's I'm not naive where I've done it as a player and coach, so I know what it takes.
Yeah.
It's just it takes recruiting classes
have
and
the right
time.
guys.
Yeah. So it's cool. There's a lot to look forward to. It's a really exciting time in the program.
And you said you coached the girls' soccer. Is it a different game? Women's and men's soccer, different game for the most part? Is it really kind of, women's hockey's different, women's basketball is a little different?
Great quote that you coach your personality.
Okay.
So that's
but the rules are pretty much similar?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know women's lacrosse, women's hockey, there are different rules too that make it a little, a lot of the same. Yeah. And so I guess the main thing, because I do have a segment that we do, and I know you got to take off a little early, so that's why I'm jumping ahead a little bit. But before I get into that last segment part, do you feel shaping a pro? I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this. There was I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and there was a quote of somebody back in the day, and we've talked to a lot of guys on our show as well, but I believe it was Diamond Dallas Page actually. But he said sometimes I know that's all scripted and it's not, you're not out there playing and whatever, but sometimes a loss tells a better story than a win. That's what he said. So you can build up a program, you can build up that character, for example. They lose this match, there's emotion behind it, and then they get their big payoff at the end, kind of a deal.
Sure.
Do you feel like there's more of a drive if you lose a game and be like, all right, that's my motivation? Or if you guys are just dominant and winning games, now you're like, all right, that's my motive. Like, are you kind of, do you take a loss like really hard, or are you kind of a guy who builds off of it?
Yeah, I'm not a believer that like you need to lose to learn a lesson.
Okay, because some are. That's why I'm curious. Yeah.
I think there's moments in a game that learn
you learn about yourself or learn about your team.
You got the schedule up.
Yeah,
SUNY Poly loss is
Poly. Oh,
that was our lesson. I think the shots are like 25-3 or something like that.
If I look at the box score here,
I'd be curious like what it is. But that was because we're talking to the guys. You can get into the NCAA tournament.
20-4.
Yeah. So you can get into the tournament, not just winning your conference, by being good enough. So if we didn't lose that game, I don't know if we would have been fully in that, but we would have been ranked. We would have been
right there.
Yeah, right there. So there are some losses, I think, early on in a program's culture that definitely help. Now, where our team's headed now, the games are much more important, and maybe ties can learn you something, or like not losing half. But I think if I'm being a good leader and wanting to be competitive, like we find a way to win, and if we don't, then it's like we go through the same process we always do. The players reflect on their own. We look at the film, and then we go back to the field and we go at the next team, and it's more of a process than like a feeling like anything. But I would say at the highest levels at UNH, like it felt like death when we lost. Like it felt like death because you put so much into the game, the scout, the prep, the operation side of it. So the hard part next year is you can't see the schedule, but
I don't have it up yet.
We ranked or we scheduled probably 7 NCAA opponents. Next year. So our out of conference just completely
just get you battle tested though
early. It's way better. So that will be like if the group is ready for that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like they might be?
I think so. Yeah. It's definitely going to be who's on it that week and gets the shout to start. And if not, then like that's the whole point. We're kind of embracing a competition internally this year.
Nice. Which kind of helps out down the stretch too. Like Coach Bostic, he had, I don't know if you followed the women's basketball team, but their non-conference was ridiculous. They had like 7 nationally ranked teams out of their first 9, and I just was like, what are you doing? Like, because this is coming off of Coach Turner's seasons that were NCAA tournament appearances and different things. You're starting the season at 1-9, because you're playing top 5 teams every week, it seems like. And he's like, it just gets us ready for conference because, the Liberty League is such a tough conference that we're going to be ready. And then as the season starts to come along, and then they end up winning the conference tournament game, and they go on the road, beat RIT and our RPI rather. And I'm like, So I do buy into that philosophy a little bit, as well as you got to play the best to know how to proceed later on in the year.
For sure.
So, which I like. And one thing I'm noticing on it, is there a big rival for you guys? Is there a big team? Like every school has its rival.
Sure. I think coming in for the alumni, it was St. Lawrence because they had knocked him out a couple times in a row. So
Vassar's been tough for you guys.
There's been emphasis. For me personally, it's not a rival with Vassar. No? They're class. Like they're good. So like there is an emphasis to beat them next year because they knocked us out last year. Yeah. And then Hobart's really good in conference. So like those 3 teams are there: St. Lawrence, Vassar, and Hobart. I think it just changes year to year. There's such good coaches in the conference now. 4 new coaches in the last 2 years. So
so they're kind of there's a little bit of a change going on. Yeah. Okay. So I do know you got to duck out a little early. So I'll make this as quick as possible. I usually have an ending segment. Normally I've talked majority to basketball guys, so I had a segment called fourth quarter free throws. For me, I'm going to change it up for you. I'm going to actually make it penalty shots instead, because that's more soccer relative. Yeah. And what this is basically top of the head. Just no thinking, no articulating answer. Just kind of First thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Some of them are about soccer, some of them are about you, some are about whatever. But it's just top of that. First one will be about. I got a couple of soccer related ones though. Most important position on the field.
Center, defensive mid.
Okay. Best soccer player in the world right now, in your opinion?
Yes.
Still? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, still?
Okay. Or like right now, currently, best soccer player in the world.
I'm just gonna say Messi because I have that much
great.
respect
Fantastic.
for him. Yeah.
Fantastic. One skill player or one skill every player must have. Every player must have.
Ability to use your weak foot.
Okay. You a coffee guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Coffee or energy drink? Coffee. Okay.
Energy drink on game days.
On game. Okay. Well, what's your go-to for that?
Sugar-free Red Bull.
Oh, sugar-free. You're sugar-free guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, come on. Like,
you're
already getting jacked up. You don't need.
I'm a big C4 guy, so but that's like you're sitting there. You're like, ooh.
Yeah.
But okay, so sugar-free. Now, is sugar-free for a reason, or?
I just feel like I'm already jacking myself up with.
You don't need the extra sugar and the caffeine and all the stuff. Okay. Yeah. Favorite spot in Saratoga? Could be a restaurant. Could be Caroline Street. I won't judge you.
It's got to be between the track and SPAC. Like,
okay, so you're a music guy.
What good vibes at both places, and people watching too. It's the
you like people? Be the most, like, in the summer. That's part of a big thing in the summer. Yeah. So, and I drive Uber sometimes for at night for the track season. Yeah. Because mostly just during track season, because like you said, you get to see so many different people.
Yeah.
And the town is alive in the summertime. So, so what are you usually doing on your day off? What is people talk about work-life balance. What are you a music guy? Do you have hobbies? Like, what's your?
I got a 10-month-old daughter.
Okay,
so that's definitely been occupying it.
Well, that I have a 3-year-old, so I know it's. It gets harder.
So similar to what I was saying earlier with academics, I feel like I don't drop work at all.
Okay,
I like either reading or indulging in something else that's related to work.
Okay, so if you're watching like a movie, for example, or you're reading a book.
I love movies. I will say I crush movies. Yeah. So.
Sports movies or just anything? Anything? Okay.
Anything, yeah.
Because that was the next thing, a movie or are you a movie guy? Because some people don't like movies.
I'm really good at watching movies.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, and then favorite sports movie?
Ooh. Gosh. Why does like Miracle obviously comes to my head?
Miracle's great.
Yeah, no, but like favorite sports movie? Damn.
I think Coach Burke was Hoosiers. Bostic was He Got Game. I'm trying to remember Pete Fisher.
I mean, like Coach Carter is like
Carter's fantastic.
Like awesome sports.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. So. Gosh, there's so much more though. Like like The Replacements is a hilarious football movie.
Waterboy. Yeah, we talked about Adam Sandler earlier.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to come back to that one.
Okay, that's fantastic.
That's a great one.
If you could coach any other sport, what would it be?
Volleyball.
Okay.
It's exciting and fun.
Okay, and it's back and forth and a lot
like watching the Springfield National Championship. Did you see that?
Yep. I seen it. Yep. And I my brother actually played at Shen, so I thought growing up, I thought volleyball was a girl sport, and then he played, and I was like, wow, okay, men's volleyball is insane. Yeah, it's back and forth. And then he went on to Carthage, I believe, in Wisconsin to play. So I was like, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, they were in the finals.
Yeah, well, they're a great program. Yeah, fantastic. And I'll do 2 more here for you.
Sure.
I already touched on one word to describe your coaching style. You talked about the blue collar aggressive. We already went into that. Out of all the places you've been, favorite place you've lived or coached? Well, obviously,
my hometown.
Obviously, they go hand in hand because you live where you coach. But
my hometown, Bethlehem.
Bethlehem, you still got some love for the BHAM, huh? Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of people from that town that are still involved in soccer.
Now, Bethlehem's the school, but there's Delmar. Slingerland's Delmar. Okay.
Yeah. So you got to, like, 1st through 5th grade recess, we played blacktop soccer, 15 on 15.
Blacktop, wow.
Blacktop, 15 on 15. No one had pennies. You just knew we were on each other's teams. Played with a basketball half the time.
I don't say shirts and skins, really? Is that how you did it? Or you just kind of...
No, you just knew. That's like what I mean. And then to go to high school games when you're in 7th grade and see... I mean, we had a Charlotte commit, some Connecticut, UAlbany, all these guys. And then you had 200 screaming high school kids that had chants for every single player and a jam band that would after any.
So a big soccer culture in Bethlehem.
What a unique, completely unique culture.
Okay, I still remember. I still remember Bethlehem when I was in high school. We were playing them at homecoming. And, I know you're familiar with CBA, but they have the two cannons out front.
Yeah.
And I remember we were playing Bethlehem that one night, and I get to school that morning. I'm driving in, and our two cannons out front are spray painted orange. And two kids had went there overnight and hit it. And
what year did you graduate from?
06.
06. So was the running back was Brian something, right? Wasn't he was like 0304? He was nasty.
So long ago, but I know you're talking about.
He was really, really good. Yeah.
The basketball team was better then. Yeah. Now football is really coming alive for CBA, but football was. I think we won our first sectional game ever. One of my awesome years there. Yeah. So, but Bethlehem was. I still remember that though. Driving in, going, son of. What are these? We thought it was funny. The administrators didn't think it was very funny because they had to spend money to get them undone. It's always. I love those high school rivalries, and I do. Since you guys don't have football, I do high school football now for broadcasting. I can get my fix a little bit that way. And so then the last two, and I actually had one, and then we got into this tangent, and I lost it. Because some of these I freelance as well. I know what it was. Toughest place to play in the Liberty League. Toughest field to go on the road and play.
Probably Hobart.
Hobart, okay.
Clarkson.
Oh, well, Clarkson's up, okay.
As far as field.
Field, yeah. Toughest.
Environment and field combined and quality of team, Hobart.
Hobart, okay.
Yeah.
And the last one has nothing to do with anything, but I've asked every single person. We've had, and really a lot of it is to gauge your mental state to see if you're insane or not. And that is, and you can only pick one of the two, and I'll know kind of if you're all there upstairs based on what you say. Skydive or shark cage?
Skydive.
Why? You are insane. Why?
A shark cage, I get it. You're like trapped in. They can't get you.
Well, the shark can't get you. You got a ton of steel around you, and they can bring you up if they need to. But the biggest thing for me is it can't get in there. Okay, you're 10,000 feet in the air, and you pull that parachute. It doesn't open. You don't have a choice. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I think about Leonardo DiCaprio. He was all for the Sharks, and then he had a cage incident. Now he's not for the Sharks.
Yeah, I get it.
It's pretty awesome. It looks pretty sweet. The video, you get to watch the video.
Yeah, but you watch the video, and that's like a minute, 2 minutes.
But you're underwater, and you don't have any oxygen. Imagine the oxygen goes bad. Yeah, it could go bad.
It could go bad, yes, but then you have a little button and they bring you up. But I get it. I just, maybe...
You ever seen Jurassic Park? I don't know. Underwater stuff is not good.
Maybe it's because I have terrible luck, maybe. But I always look at it as, I like things that you can control. Like if I'm out on a road trip with friends or something, I like to be the driver. Because I like to be the passenger, because I like to be in control of my destiny, right? Same thing with this. If you're jumping out of a plane... You watch the videos and they're floating through the air and everything's great. But in reality, it's like 30 seconds to a minute before you're on the ground.
Sure.
So if that doesn't pull, you're screwed. Okay. At least with a shark cage, there's variables that you can maybe control a little bit. So for me, it's just like, all right, I would be the one.
I would do neither for the record.
Well, yeah, me either. But for me, it's, I would be the one that they could do 10,000 jumps.
Yeah.
Perfect. No problem. I'd be the one the parachute wouldn't open and make the news. That would be me.
Yeah.
So that's why for me
do you wash your apples?
From the store, or if you pick them at an orchard?
Both. Either.
No, I just pick it up and eat it.
Well, you're risking it there too. So.
Yeah, but also variables you can control. I mean, I risk certain things, like so you're familiar with. Put it this way: you're familiar with like an apple's not going to kill you unless it's a really bad apple.
Could have been sprayed with some bad pesticide.
It could have been, but I'll take that risk because it's delicious. You familiar with Lake George?
Sure.
Sleeve League, not Sleeve League. That's in Ireland. Calf pens.
No.
It's the two rock formation that you can climb up and then jump off the rocks into the water.
Oh,
you ever seen that one? Yeah, not doing that either. No, because
I've done that.
Because okay. Fun. See, you're insane. Exactly.
Fun, yeah.
Because and that's the thing. You bite an apple, you had bad pesticides. Okay, we have modern we have modern medicine. We have all that stuff. You can fix that, right?
Yeah.
I would jump off that. You could jump. I could have 100 people in front of me that jump off perfectly fine. I'd be the one that hit the rock and break my leg or my neck. That's just me. So maybe it's a biased question. I don't know, but either way. But that is so. Brad Campion here with us, and again the penultimate, maybe the last one, but possibly penultimate, depending on if I can get into the studio next week or not. Player, coach, and really bringing Skidmore soccer into the forefront here. So again, Coach, we do thank you for coming on with us. They only give me an hour time slot, even though this time of year I can have whenever because there's nobody around. But it's designed to be an hour. Yeah. And thanks for coming on with us. Hopefully, those listening and those listening later on YouTube have learned a little bit about soccer, learned a little bit about the coach and the process of what brought him here and what he's building. So once again, WSPN 91.1. Going to get the music coming back on here. Coach has to skip out. He's got a big event here tonight as well. And we will see you hopefully next week. Same time, same place.